Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Good evening, Internet. It's Wednesday. I'm in my basement, joined as always by Joe and Daryl, and our very special guest, my former Wednesday night live stream host from eons ago, Jason Arsenault. How you guys doing?
Great. Good. Jason, Jason OG, right? Wasn't it you, Glenn, Jay, and Sam, or what was it? I can't remember.
It was originally, when it was hosted on Glenn's channel, it was Glenn and Sam and I, and then Jason used to watch in the comments, and we kind of egged him on to, like, Jay, you got to start a channel. So then you joined us, and then Alex joined us, or maybe it was the other way around. But anyway,
it was me and then Alex, and then Glenn left, and then
I took over.
Channel. Yeah.
And then you guys all left, and then I brought these guys. Yeah, so it's like Fleetwood Mac, it's still the same thing, but it changes every time. So
yeah, I like to think of myself as Trey Savage. I started off in single A ball, and I eventually made my way up to the majors. Yeah,
there you go. Trevor, how you doing, my friend? Welcome.
Hey, Trevor.
Trev.
Yeah, I like his logo.
Trevor.
It's new.
Yeah, I think that's newish. I noticed it a couple of weeks ago. But...
Yeah. And we got Glenn in Buffalo. How you doing?
Glenn.
And Richard in Colorado. How you
Hey,
doing?
Richard.
Everybody doing good? Everyone having a good week? Everyone enjoying the throes of wintertime?
Yeah, it was +3 here today. So the throes of wintertime, February in Saskatchewan, and it's +3. Doesn't happen very often. It does every once in a while, but works for me. I got no problem with it. It can stay plus from now on. It's not going to, but it can. So
I have huge news. After 3 years of my wife nagging me, I finally got my snowblower repaired.
Good. So now you won't need it anymore, right?
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah. If that works out,
it doesn't snow, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's peace of mind. It's in the garage when you need it.
There. It could fire up right away if I needed it to. I've been procrastinating because, I don't have a pickup truck, so how the hell am I going to get a snowblower taken to the snowblower place? And I didn't know where to take it because I didn't bother Googling anything. So it was out of sheer laziness and procrastination. And every time that I would need it, I'm like, it's halfway through January. I'll be fine. And this year she just kept nagging me, and rightfully so. And then when we had the last 2 weeks where it was like snow nonstop, I go, I got to fix this. And of course, the wife tagged me in a thread on one of the community pages where I live that someone was looking for someone that does snowblower repair, that picks up and delivers, and is in the west end of the city that I live in. And someone responded. I reached out to the dude, super nice guy, came the next day, picked up my snowblower, brought it back today, full tune-up, new tires, new carburetor, and he only charged me $100. And I'm like, well,
new tires. You put so much mileage on that the tires.
No, they don't. See, the problem is they'd unseated from the rims, and they'd had no air in them for the last 2 years. He goes, I couldn't get them to reseal. So
sure.
He did explain a few weeks ago though that he's that guy that if there is any amount of snow, he's out there and cleaning it. I don't know if he's always using the snowmobile. Good Christ,
I call the snowmoblower.
The snowmoblower. Yeah. That's a combination of a snowmoblower. They've got those like those Roomba ones now. Maybe just to invest in one of them things.
Well, we have a concrete driveway, and it's like 2.5 cars wide and 2.5 cars long. And as it started to warm up today, like my driveway is shoveled, but there was still tire tracks that had been packed down on top of the rest of the bare concrete. So I'm out there with the ice scraper today, scraping the tire tracks off the concrete driveway. I'm that guy.
You're that guy. You're that guy.
I'm that
has
guy.
To have the pristine driveway.
And in the summer, I'm the guy whose lawn has to be cut and edged at all times.
Oh, you'd hate me.
And Daryl's the exact opposite. He wants as much build up at least across the river as he can possibly get, right?
Yeah, because we've been traveling across the river every now and again. I still got to do a video of that and send it to Rob.
Yeah, I would shit myself. Cars are not meant to drive across water.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
you watch too much Ice Road Truckers.
As Canadians, we're holy because we can walk on water when it's frozen. But
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Richard said it would probably cost the price of a new snowblower just to tune one up. Well, it usually is here too. So I was quite happy that someone picked it up and dropped it off and fixed it for $100. I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good thing. Yep, exactly.
It's a good thing. We have a few pieces of music news to note before we get into it. Obviously, to take a moment to note that yesterday was the day the music died.
Yep, it was
a significant, event, if you will. I saw a photo that was in all, many of those, music died photos yesterday. But I saw one that's the last picture of Buddy Holly, and it's him playing his Strat on stage that night in Clear Lake, Iowa. And I just thought, what a haunting picture, right? Because knowing in a few hours the guy would be no longer with us, just a horrible thing. And then you got Waylon Jennings playing bass, and I just like, what a weird, sad, tragic, whatever. But anyway, just a mark of remembrance that yesterday was the day the music died.
I think, Rob, what makes those pictures even more strange is the fact that, like, we now live in a world where those pictures would have been taken and you don't even have to develop them.
Right.
Those would have been released posthumously. That would have been
exactly.
Yeah.
Brian, I like you, man, but
look, it's Brian.
I'm not happy with that goddamn Dodgers toque bullshit in your Canadian stereotype video. It's too early to make jokes like that. So
too soon.
I'm giving you your 1 strike warning here, sir. No more Dodger stunts.
It's okay, Rob. You got 20 days left? Not even 20 days.
Well, pitchers and catchers report in 8 days, I think. And then the first game is on the 20th.
I'm so excited to not be a bandwagon guy this year. Like, I think I'm going to start the season with actually trying to learn the team.
Do it. There you go.
Getting on board early, are you? That's good.
I'm going to try. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the first game, is like a Wednesday. This first, like, summer, spring training game. I'm not working that day. I'm not going anywhere that day. I'm not even picking my son up from school. It'll be like, Kim, you go. And I parked in front of the big screen just outside my office. That's all I'm doing that day. So, yes, give me a decade or two to recuperate. Heartbreaking does not begin to describe what that was. So, the other piece of music news is the Record Store Day list dropped today. Do we care?
I don't.
Joe doesn't.
I mean, I do and I don't.
I didn't care
I don't know.
We
don't
didn't even look at it yet.
Yeah. Daryl hasn't even had a chance to look at it. I mean, it is what it is. I've said my piece about Record Store Day, and it's not because we at the shop can't participate or don't choose to, whatever way you want to put it. It just isn't a thing for me anymore. So other than it pisses people off and people want to try and find stuff, then they can't find it. And, it's more of a, I don't know if there's more hurt feelings than there are happy feelings. I'm sure depends on how many they put out there. Like Bruno Mars, they're putting out 11,000 of whatever it is, compilations, or I can't remember exactly what it is. But so, numbers for that one are up there a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. But like I said, it just seems like it pisses more people off between not being able to find stuff and then guys buying it and reselling it for ridiculous prices. There's just more negativity around it than positivity. For the most part, not completely, but there's unfortunately there's more than that. But that's the kind of the way of the world these days too.
What about you, Jay?
Well, I like it, but I can't participate because I don't have any record stores near me. What I look forward to is when I go to a proper city with a proper record store that has participated. They always have the leftovers, right? So I like looking at the list to see what could still be there for me. I got to say that what I see on the list, there is more on this list than I've seen in the past 4 or 5 lists that appeals to me. That being said, like, the odds of me picking that stuff up is super slim. And to Joe's point, like, there's a lot to unpack with Record Store Day. And I think the majority of record collectors that don't understand the finances behind record stores and things like that, there's probably a lot to learn with that stuff, right? So over Record Store, yeah, a lot of people seem to be. I think Joe's right. Like, I think the amount of negativity, whether it's truly more than the positivity, it definitely shows more negativity on the vinyl community side of things. That's for sure.
And eventually they're going to run out of live concerts to put out on Record Store Day, because there's about, I don't know, I didn't really count. I was going to say there's about 50 of them. That is an exaggeration, but there's got to be at least 20 plus that are those kinds of titles, which is great. That's fine. Because what else? There's only so much hidden tracks and stuff that, oh my God, we found this in the vault. So I think as we move along, it's going to be more and more of those live albums, which are great if they're recorded properly or whatever. So I don't know.
That's just it. Yeah. Like I'm a huge Doors fan, and the Doors always release something on RSD, but I never pick it up because notoriously the sound quality of these recordings is garbage. And like, I can't justify that kind of expense to bring it into the house and then not enjoy the actual listen of it all. But
yeah, they I think they're starting maybe to get to a point, like Springsteen's is an example of a recent show that was probably purposely recorded to then put out on vinyl, to then put out on Record Store Day. So there's a little bit of that going on. But when they're pulling stuff from the 1970s and 80s off of, maybe not even off of the soundboard, they have to have it off the soundboard, or you wouldn't think it would be an official release. That there's only going to be so much of that out there, but I don't know. I have no opinion as I yap in 5 minutes. So yeah, I did
when Rob started the show, I did have a chance to scroll a tiny bit down the PDF list of releases for this year. I am assuming that Rob is going to order the Bryan Adams one.
Yeah, I didn't even see that, and not on purpose. I didn't see it. I just never saw it. I did go through it. I didn't go through it deep though, because again, it's not that I don't care. I don't know. Anyway, Rob, how about you? Right? I mean, you and I discussed it briefly.
I always, when I hear the list drops, before I click the link, I'm always going, please don't let there be anything on here I want.
Yeah.
Because, I'm a little OCD about certain things, but I am too old and grumpy. I mean, I look like I'm in my 40s, but I have the personality of someone in their late 70s. So I don't want to go line up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to line up overnight. That's horse shit. So I don't want to go through the whole hassle of records today. It's not fun anymore. But I do like the idea, but it's just been corrupted by people that buy shit and flip it and, try and make extra buck on the secondary market. That's not the point. So having said that, I'm looking at the list going, please don't let there be anything on here that I want. Joe's favorite artist is putting out something. Bryan Adams has an album of unreleased. It came with a deluxe box set previously, but first time on vinyl. So I'm going to buy that, hopefully. There's only 2,000, but let's be honest, not 2,000 people that give a shit about Bryan Adams, so I'll buy that. I'd love the Springsteen 5 LP set, but I'm willing to bet that's going to be north of $250, $300.
Yeah. I would think. I
don't want it that much. And then I found 2 other listings that popped up in my Instagram feed that are being released for Record Store that weren't on the list. That they were. So I'm a big fan of the Sadies from Toronto, and Yep Rock, which is a label that they put out a couple releases on. They're doing a Record Store Day of Dallas Good's last recording. He died a couple years ago unexpectedly, and he had done an album as a band called the Watchtowers with the guy from Arcade Fire. So that's coming out. That's an absolute must. I got to get that. And then I just noticed just before we logged on that the band is putting out their last album, High on the Hog, for the first time ever on vinyl without Robbie Robertson. The album is shit.
But you already have everything else.
Because I love the band, and it is Levon, and it is Garth. And I think, it was before Rick passed away. So I'm going to have to get it. So.
Rob, what was explain that Watchtowers thing again with the Arcade Fire guy? What was that?
That's what's his name? Richard Perry, I think is his name.
Okay.
Richard, bear with me. Talk amongst yourself, and I'll pull this up here. Hold on.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And the Sadie.
I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at the list right now, and I got a question for Richard. Wondering if Richard's going to go for the OMD Archives 1980 to whatever it is. It's got to be like almost like a greatest hits thing there.
There's
Okay.
a couple of various artist things at the very bottom of the list that were interesting. There's like a Stax recording, which I assume is like a bunch of Stax singles, which would be like super awesome to have as a comp. But
What'd you find?
I'm pulling it up on the screen here.
Well, I don't know if
wow.
that's allowed. You might get a strike for pulling it out. Oh, up. You said up.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Smart ass.
Yeah.
All right, let me give this a little share here. I remember how to do this.
I hope some random shit comes up from your laptop that we're not supposed to see.
There's I promise you there's nothing.
It's just that Bengals chick.
Yeah. Come on, you stupid bastard.
Richard asked, is there a separate Canadian-focused record store day list this year? There are not yet. It's not out yet. At least I didn't find it. The UK one's out, and then the main's out. But yeah, there'll probably be some. Honeymoon Suite is the ambassadors. So there you go.
You guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dallas Good and Richard Reed Perry of Arcade Fire. They originally did this album called The Watchtowers, and they did it over the course of about 10 years. And then Dallas died, and so now they're going to put this out as a
Cool. I'm gonna check that out.
It's on sort of like there's only 900 of them, so shit. I got to make sure I get one. It's on this kind of cool colored vinyl. So Yep Rock's putting it in. So they're describing it as, where did I see it here somewhere? The album is pressed on a white vinyl, limited to 1,000 copies. They're calling it Cosmic Psychedelic Americana. So
I'm in.
Cosmic Psychedelic Americana.
yeah, I'm in too because I'm such a big Sadie's fan. So I'm way behind in the comments. Record Hound, how you doing? Everyone's saying hi to everybody there. Yeah. Okay, I'm not so far behind in the comments because there we go.
Yeah, you're okay. You're all right.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Look at this. I actually saw a copy of Passenger still sealed, $49. I got my Passenger, so I'm good. So that's a good deal at $49. So yeah, there's 3 titles I want to get. There's also a live Tom Petty that if I see it and it's priced right, I'd probably grab it. But I got to get the Bryan Adams one, and I got to get the band, and I got to get Dallas Good. So that's my record store day. I'm glad there's nothing else.
Oh, Trevor. Yeah, Trevor, I want that Pink Floyd. I got to get that. Right in the heyday, right in their peak of their powers.
We'll
Okay.
see what happens. Yeah, like I said, unless I've missed it, the Canadian one's not out there yet, and then there's always a few extras. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe there will be something that will grab my attention there, and then I won't be able to.
There was
find
a honeymoon suite thing that was on there, Joe.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
way.
Canadian list, yeah.
yeah. So
It's
yeah,
like it's a singles collection, isn't it? On one
I
disc or
think so.
something. I would probably buy that. They had a few great hits.
yeah, I like Honeymoon Suite. We can all show our Canadian pride. The Olympics have started, right?
That's
So we're the winter guys. I don't know if you guys saw or not, but Mark McMorris, I guess, had a big crash earlier. They had to take him off on a stretcher. So he was practicing big air, and he had a crash, and they took him off. No official anything other than Mark is okay, I guess, is the last thing that I could find. So
the amount of athletes that have been crashing in the downhill skiing and stuff is unbelievable. Lindsey Vonn was another one. I know she's American, but just insane, like the crashes that some of them are going through right now.
Yeah, and it's pouring rain. I saw a show or a newscast earlier. It's pouring rain over there, so hopefully the fields and all the places will hold up, and because these kids put their hearts and souls into it. So it would suck to go over there and then have lousy surfaces to participate on. So
Glendon Buffalo's talking about Dallas from the city, saying he was a good guy. Yeah, I've met him. Oh boy, more times than I can count, and always such a nice guy. I always found his brother Travis to be imposing. Like he's like a 7.5 foot tall monster and looks scary as shit. And he's the sweetest, nicest man. It's a weird juxtaposition. Anytime I've met either of the Good brothers, they were just awesome dudes. And thankfully, the last time I met Dallas and Travis, I got them to sign their album, which I think the last one they toured for was the one with the green cover. I can't remember what it's called. So, yeah, super nice guy. Like him a lot. Or liked him a lot, I guess. So, all right. Tonight, our topic is we had to put a lot of thought into this, and it took a lot of effort to pull the records. I'm lying. We're doing the one bin challenge, one bin, whatever the hell you want to call it.
I like it. I think it's a great idea.
It's kind of fun, right?
It's easy breezy. It's informal. It's just here. Talk about a couple of these records. And
most importantly, when the live stream is over, it's very quick and fast for us to put the records back in the stack where they belong. So
exactly,
we each knew how many bins everyone had, and we randomly were given a number, and that's what we pulled, 10 or 12 records from, and that's where we're going. So our special guest always goes first.
Nice.
So up to you, Jay.
Okay, out of a possible, well, I guess it's kind of 15 bins, but there's like 11 that have records. Rob chose bin number 5 for me. In the order I decided to count them, which
is fine. Which is fine.
It's up to you. Yeah.
Well, it really was bin number 5, but okay. So in that bin, there's 46 records. So it's kind of like your regular kind of square. So there's 46 albums in there. Obviously, I only took a handful out. 2 artists dominate that bin. One out of the artists is represented here tonight. The other one is not, but I can easily talk about them if I have to. But the first album, I knew right away, given the nature of the people on this podcast, and especially inspired by Daryl's Canadian vinyl tag, I'm going Canadian. And the first album in that rack is this.
Very nice.
So we're going with this
done.
gentleman here. This is April. This is 1967. This is his second studio album, which I love digging about this. This was so great. Like, this was recorded in Nashville, which not so Canadian, but okay, like whatever. Like Nashville in the 60s. I wonder what that was like versus Nashville now, which is probably still an iconic music place then as it is now. But when I was doing the digging, Kenny Buttrey was on drums for this, or on percussion rather. And he was a famous Nashville session player who did a lot of work with Dylan, but more importantly and more Canadian, he did work with Neil Young, and he was in the Stray Gators. So beyond Gordon, there's another Canadian element there. That's Kenny, who's, well, maybe American, but he did some work with other Canadians as well. But just a great, solid folk album. I was listening to it today. Definitely, like, there's a song. What song is it? It's, I think it was A Minor Ballad. And he carries his voice just like Joan Baez. Like, he does the very, like, kind of, I wouldn't say high pitch because it's not a high pitch kind of guy, but he definitely throws his voice around in a way that I'm not accustomed to when I listen to Gordon Lightfoot. And anyway, it was a great way to revisit the album. I hadn't listened to it forever. I have the Gord's Gold, so if I want Gordon, I usually put that on. But this was fun to revisit. And like I said, the first album in the Cube, and a great Canadian legacy right there.
Very nice.
Well,
I think Gord made an appearance in almost everybody's, didn't he,
Yeah.
Daryl? I think he did. I know he was in mine. I know he was in Rob's. I know he was in
believe so.
Brian's, who I watched yesterday. I'm pretty sure he was in Curtis's. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Record Hound is saying
Gordon's great, and I actually, unless you're trying to find some really rare stuff, at least in Canada, you can go to a lot of places and they're relatively inexpensive.
Yes.
For Gordon's music too, which is good.
Oh.
Keep it with it.
Very
I know,
nice.
We agree, Alex. YouTube is better with Jason. It's also great with Alex if he ever wants to join us.
That's
Just
right.
saying.
Exactly.
Just saying. The alumni is always welcome back with open arms.
Now, the combination of Alex being here and Richard's comment from a couple before Alex, because I'm not sure if Alex has ever found any Max Webster yet. I know he's always looking, and I have some that I mean to keep sending him, but I haven't got there yet. But another great Canadian band, a little Max Webster, and Richard finally found himself some. So that's cool.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they come up in a second or two here.
All right. Daryl, you're next because Joe's always going to say you go next. So
That's fair.
Right.
I think I have 22 bins. 3 of them are all random right now because I'm still sorting through stuff. And I think, Joe, you said Joanne picked my bin, eh?
She did, because her favorite NASCAR driver is Darrell Waltrip. So it's Darrell and 17, which was not always his number, but most of the time his number. So yes, Joanne picked your number this time. Yeah. Yeah.
So 17 was the bin number, which basically is my T's, all of my T's, and then my U's and the start of my V's. So what I've decided to do, it's kind of a random amount of lettering. So what I've decided to do is my favorite decade is 80s music. So all of the albums I'm going to show are going to be from the 80s. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of Canadian music, but I do have a few. So we'll get there. But what I tried to do is to show albums that I haven't really shown before at least on our show here. So what I'm going to do, and they're all alphabetical from T through V, whatever it might be. And so my first choice is a Dutch one-hit wonder in North America who redid a song. I believe it's from the 1920s, I think it is. And that is Taco. Taco was the first one with the epic hit, Puttin' on the Ritz. And I mean, if you've heard Puttin' on the Ritz, you kind of get a gist of what the whole entire album is going to sound like. It's very flashy 1920s and 30s style. And I think actually when I did MGK Boston's contest question, I probably could have shown Taco as a what did he call it? Like not a sex symbol, but somebody who was well dressed.
The supermodel.
Taco would have fit that category. So yeah, that's just on the RCA with the elephant thing or whatever it is there. And I don't know, there's just something about that song. I mean, I can't listen to this all the time, but yeah, Taco's Putting on the Ritz, or After 8 as it's called. Speaking of After 8, do you guys like those After 8 chocolates?
Oh, hell yeah.
I do. Yes.
Absolutely.
Mint and chocolate, man.
works.
I'm not a mint and chocolate guy.
Okay, that's it. Jason's gone. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Screw that.
I will eat one after dinner, but I'll never sit down with mint and chocolate otherwise.
Yeah, never. There you go. My favorite rendition of Putting on the Ritz is from Young Frankenstein when the two of them do their rendition of it. I don't know if you remember that or not, but look it up. I bet it's on YouTube. Okay. Future episode suggestions, albums that will surprise people that are in your collection. We've probably done that somewhere along the line, and I know they get peppered in from here and there. But anyway, this I think might fall into that category, maybe not. But Mad Libs, which is a little bit of a hip hop blues jazz album. It is him fusing in hip hop with a bunch of blue note jazz, and then there's a bunch of jazz guys that in the middle do this little bit about, hey, Madlib keeping jazz alive, blah blah blah. So I mean, normally he's just a straight up hip hop dude, but on this one it's just a little bit of a different take. So again, not something necessarily I think that most would think fit in my repertoire based on other things that are going to come up. This is going to be, Trevor's going to like some albums that I've got coming up here. But yeah, so Madlib and the Shades of Blue, which is Madlib Invades Blue Note. So there you go. Yes, Joe's showing a Blue Note record. There you go. Exactly. That you should have had the surprised emoji.
Okay. Joe picked bin number 8 for me, and I told him to pick again because bin number 8 is almost entirely Fleetwood Mac, and that would be a very boring video. So I think, or no, he went with 9. So we settled on 7, which is a good portion of the letter C. There are C's in the preceding bin, but this is all going to be the letter C. These are in no particular order in my pile, but this is something from my childhood. My dad, he's the reason that I am a music nerd. Growing up, he listened to a lot of Motown, and really liked like the Motown girl groups like the Supremes and the Ronettes and that kind of thing. So a big part of my childhood. And I really like the Crystals. He's a Rebel and Dadu Run Run were their 2 biggest hits, but I think they had some others. He's Sure the Boy I Love. There's a couple others. Anyway, this is just kind of a greatest hits because that's all you really need, to be quite honest. That I picked up for $5 at like an antique market or something, just because I liked this a lot when I was a kid and kind of makes me think of Dad. So we got some Motown stuff.
Nice.
Always good. Always good.
Yeah. We'll go back to Jay. We're just it was not on the bingo card that Jason would show or Joe would show a blue note. So there you go.
Okay.
Why
Alex
did
likes this. I think Alex will like this. This is another Canadian act here, band, whatever. We are going with, when Rob is done here. We are going with Mahogany Rush.
Oh yeah, Alex will like
Mahogany
that.
Rush, Max Oom. This is their debut album. This is 1972. Wicked album cover. The little glare is kind of screwing things up for me here, but awesome album cover. If you don't know them, I never knew them until I started collecting vinyl. And you start listening to this album and you think it's Jimi Hendrix. In fact, the guy that started this band, that leads the band, he was very prolific with the electric guitar. He sounds like Hendrix. He's even been accused of kind of ripping Hendrix off. But the fact that he puts where is it? There's somewhere here where it's like basically thanking Jimi Hendrix for the inspiration, kind of alleviates him from, the guilt of, ripping him off, which he didn't. It just has a similar guitar style is all. But when you listen to this album, it feels like you're listening to someone who is appreciating, imitating, whatever, Jimi Hendrix. So yeah, Frank Marino, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. They say he's one of the most underappreciated, underacknowledged guitarists of all time. He is a meme on Pajama, yeah.
Yeah.
So he is an incredible guitarist. And I think is he still alive? I think he might still be alive, but he was touring along for quite a while. And yeah, he's just an incredible dude. The album itself is the only thing I know by him or Mahogany Rush. I'm sure Alex could tell me if there's other better stuff out there, but yeah, just an absolute banger of a record to listen to. Just good, solid rock music with a very heavy influence of like psychedelic Hendrix type guitar work.
Love it.
1972.
If I could play like Jimi Hendrix, I might put it on vinyl too and put it out there. So
Yeah, you bet.
I apologize that as I'm selecting comments, it keeps making me the large photo. So, StreamYard's a little glitchy tonight, so I apologize if the videos are jumping around. Not much I can do about that. But Record Hound is saying Philly, not Motown. Yes, and as I was clarifying, I meant sort of Motown more as the genre than the actual specific label. He's an oldies nut. That's awesome. I love oldies too because I grew up on that stuff. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. But grew up listening to a lot of that stuff when I was a kid. So apparently Frank Marino is still alive, has some health issues, had tickets to see him years ago, but he had to cancel sadly. Oh, that sucks.
yeah, it's too bad. That's not good.
Yeah. Okay. Daryl.
Second album. Actually, this is a cheat. This one's not from the 1980s. It falls just short of the 1980s, but I picked it anyway because it's an important year, 1979. So
It's close enough.
it is close enough. Yeah.
Close enough amongst friends.
So what's that?
Close enough amongst friends. 79, 80. You know, what the hell? You guys weren't born, and I was drunk, so it doesn't matter. Nobody will remember it.
I was born.
You were born. Yeah, I know. But
I was born too. That's why this is an important year. So I picked this band here. Now this band for there's kind of a divisive band, I think, because I know not everybody likes these guys. You either I'm pretty sure you either like these guys or kind of hate these guys. They fall into that new wave art rock. But my favorite song by this band is actually on this album that I have, and it was featured. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a TV show. I think it ran from like 97 to 99. It had I forget what his name is. It was called Millennium. It was kind of like not a spin-off of X-Files or anything like that, but it had I can't remember the guy's name in it. Anyway, there's an episode that begins season 2, and it has the song Life During Wartime on it, Talking Heads. And it reminds me of that all the time, where there's a guy in the series, the main guy, his name is Frank Black, and his wife gets kidnapped at the end of season 1 going into season 2, and while she's kidnapped, in the trunk of the car, the guy that's kidnapping her is playing Life During Wartime, but it's not the radio version. I think it's a different version of it. So anyway, Fear of Music, Talking Heads. If you know Talking Heads, you know what I'm talking about. They're a divisive band. Like, not everybody likes these guys. Very unique. I don't even think you could compare them to anyone. So just trying to think if there's anything else that's on this album that ever became big. I don't think so. But just a unique album, kind of a weird inner sleeve. And I suppose that if we were going to look at the ring wear on that one,
yeah, gotta love the black.
See the ring wear on this fully black cover. If we're going to go with boring album covers, not bad album covers, but extremely boring album covers, I think that might fit the bill. So, yeah, Talking Heads. I don't, for a lack of a pun, I don't talk about them very often because I don't listen to them very much. So, yeah, I'm sure that there's some experts in the comment section, though, on Talking Heads.
I had buddies that were massive fans of them at the time, and I was still banging my head a little too much at that point, but I've certainly come around to them, and I would love to see David Byrne. He's out there doing that almost stage performance. There's a really good version of it on Apple that he did in New York. It's really, really cool. And yeah, again, wasn't a huge fan at the time, but have grown to appreciate the Talking Heads and Tina and yeah, they're just, I like them. They're good. I like them.
Yeah, I just want to check something. I think there was a guy that did my I apologize. Yeah, so I apologize. There was a guy that did my stereotypes video, and I did learn something. I just wanted to make sure, but actually there is a Canadian connection to David Byrne. He actually lived in Hamilton for his childhood. I think it said
that was
where was he born? He was born in Scotland, and then moved to Hamilton, and then moved to Maryland when he was a kid. So that's yeah, it's a pretty obscure fact there. I would never thought that the guy from Talking Heads lived in Canada for a bit, but
yeah, when I was watching that, who the name escapes me now. I should remember the guy's name.
It was Grasshopper TV is the guy's name.
Grasshopper. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I was that many days old when I realized that David Byrne lived a bit of time in Canada. So yeah, that one's an interesting watch. Grasshoppers of your tag for sure. So yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Sam's watching us. How you doing, Sam?
Hello, Sam.
Sam.
Since we had you last week, we got to have Jason this week. Maybe we'll get Alex next week.
That's right.
You never know. Everyone says hi. Sam wants to know how many cubes has Jason filled with Eddie Vedder ukulele records.
One whole cube is devoted to Eddie. No.
There you go. All right, Joe.
Okay. This was not planned, but it's going to work out that way. Look, it's A Million Vacations by Max Webster, because this bin is going to be the first half of the M's. So we've talked about it. Richard didn't get this one. I'm not sure if that's the only one that Richard got was the one that he spoke of, but this is one that Alex needs. But good Canadian band. We've talked about them lots. Kind of cool. Very cool. Kim Mitchell, the most recognizable name that came out of them afterwards. I'm not sure how many of the other guys really did much, but Paradise Sky's on here. This is probably their biggest well-known album, I think. A Million Vacations on here. Diamonds is not on here, which is maybe their biggest song, but Million Vacations, just good stuff. Got the beach balls going on, and there's the boys on the back there. There's Mr. Mitchell, wherever he is, flying with his guitar, and look at all the hair he's got there. So cool. I never saw them as Max Webster. I have seen Kim a whole bunch of times, but I never saw them as Max Webster. But yeah, that just happened to come up next. So one Alex needs, and I guess maybe one that Richard needs as well. So now that Richard's a fan, he's going to be out there looking for more Max Webster, because it doesn't stray very far. If you like what you hear from Max Webster, it doesn't get a whole lot different throughout the album. So if you like what you got, there you go. And there, Warp Dog's got an extra copy of A Million Vacations.
And you may have caught everybody. Joe's doing the letter M, and Max Webster's under M, because that's the name of the band. It's not a person.
Not a person. Which one's pink? Just like that. Which one's pink? But I will come clean. Even if it was the person's name, it would still be in the M's. Yes, move along. We can have that discussion later. I do them that way, so we're not.
Joe is a senile old man, so he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
I am. That's right. I'm comfortable with it, though.
Okay, well, that's fine. On that note, I'm going to go next. Continuing on with the letter C, because that's what this whole cube is. Any of you guys know this album?
Oh, I should, because I know the name, but refresh my memory.
Okay. Crash Vegas was a band out of, I want to say Hamilton, but it could have been Toronto. In 1989, signed to Risk Disc, which is a subsidiary of Warner, that were kind of doing sort of rootsy rock. Sound like anything else that we may have talked about on this channel before?
Rootsy rock and you? I don't.
Right. So, this was their first album, and the original. There was two songwriters, Michelle McAdory and Greg Keeler, who left this band before they recorded their first record and founded another band called Blue Rodeo, also signed to Risk Disc in the late 80s. So he could have gone either way. He went the route that he went. He does appear on, I think, one or two tracks in this album, and he did write a couple songs in this album. And funny enough, the guitar player, this guy right here, is Colin Cripps, who for years would be the guitar player for the Jim Cuddy band. And then when Greg was forced to stop playing electric guitar in Blue Rodeo because of hearing problems, Colin from Greg's old band became Blue Rodeo's electric guitar player and has been for about the last 15 years. So a band quite close to another band that I love. So good record. It's kind of, it's a rootsy rock kind of thing. So it's called Red Earth, Crash Vegas.
It doesn't sound anything like Blue Rodeo, though, does it? Like,
No.
Is it similar or completely different?
I mean, it's that late '80s Canadian rock. Blue Rodeo, Tom Cochrane, all those other kind of.
Yeah.
It would fit nicely in that swimming pool. So
it would be a fun challenge to see if you could relate every record in your collection to Blue Rodeo, like some kind of 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. Like how does the how does the Beatles' White Album somehow connect with Blue Rodeo?
don't know that I can. I mean,
You could try.
Maybe that's an idea for a video. See how many albums I could.
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Keeler posted a great picture of his dog today. His dog and his crow that he has as a pet, or one that comes around all the time.
Yes.
But super border collie, and the two of them just hanging out together. It was pretty sweet, actually, pretty cool. So
Yeah,
That's pretty
he
cool.
posted a nice heartfelt message after the end of the tour, saying how much he enjoyed playing with Adam Baldwin. So
Yeah. I saw that
Oh,
one
nice.
too.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. Did I wear my Jay's hat for Jay? Yes, because no one has ever seen me wear this hat before.
I feel special.
Yeah,
You should. You really should.
I know. All right. What did I miss here? There's a few. Richard might have to make a deal with Record Hound to get that million vacations. All right. Very good. Alex says, us Americans don't know where to alphabetize Webster under M or W. Kind of anticlimactic story how they got the name. Yes, Jethro Tull is under J. Exactly. So Record Hound and I both agree that Joe does it wrong. Rich, I'm not putting your comment on the screen because
He said,
Screw
"Go
you,
Dodgers."
I'm not talking about the thing you posted. So, yeah. All right. Back to the top. Jay.
Okay, south of the border now. This is in. So yeah, my cube is like basically some of my L's to some of my M's. So now we're into 1968. This is Moby Grape.
Cool.
Grape Jam. So what's funny about this, and I found this, and it's an original, but this is actually, so it's their second album, but what they did was they had like two albums when they released this. There was one called Wow, and there's one called Grape Jam, and they were two separately packaged, two different sleeves. The Wow album was actually a gatefold, and then there was this, and they were packaged originally like together as one purchase, but they actually had two different kind of albums. So finding them together in the wild's pretty tough, but I found half of it with the Grape Jam side. I've actually never listened to the Wow side, but the Grape Jam side has a little bit more. I think there's less critical acclaim for it. It's more of a, I wouldn't say it's a jam album, but it's a lot of improvisational work. And the reason I got it is because I'm a huge Mike Bloomfield fan, and Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper show up on this and play piano on a couple tracks. But ultimately, Moby Grape, a San Francisco band from the late '60s. They have a really interesting story about just really really mismanaged kind of group that had a lot of potential, had a lot of talent, and then ultimately just didn't make the right choices, or the right choices weren't given to them. And they really just kind of didn't go places that they should have went, which is too bad, because when you listen to some of the jams on this, it's pretty, well, my, ignorant opinion is it's pretty tight. Sounds awesome to me. And that's, two sides of basically just jam material, but really good stuff. Like I said, not really critically acclaimed as far as that side of the album goes. Never heard the other side, but I do love the idea that actually I read up on it, and it was like advertised in the day as, two albums for the price of one, because it was only like $1 more than a singular album would have been. But anyway, I love that San Francisco scene from the '60s. Anyone that was kind of intermingling in different bands at the time, I'm trying to kind of basically collect their work. And that was a great pickup last year for me. An original of that. I couldn't find the other half, but anyway, great jam, good psychedelic blues rock type stuff.
I just talked about Bloomfield earlier today because I did Mike's going to 1 trillion subscribers, and my blues album was Fathers and Sons, which Bloomfield's on. I think they might both be on there with
Nice. Yeah, I got that. That's a beautiful album.
That's a very good album. Yeah, exactly. I haven't listened to it for a while. It got shown today, but now it's in the pile to listen to as well. So that's what's nice about doing these, and is you pull out the stuff. You pull out the stuff. Oh yeah, I haven't listened to that for a while.
100%.
Okay. Daryl.
Oh, my house is busy at the moment. My wife having a similar problem to what you were talking about with me earlier, Rob. Trying to get the young one to bed.
On that note,
I never have a problem with Joanne getting to bed. That's never a problem here. Oh, wait, never mind. That's different.
So my next record, Jay, you were just talking about with the Moby Grape, right? That critically acclaimed and all that kind of stuff. This one here, I think it's critically acclaimed, but it's completely overshadowed by the follow-up album, the second album. I've talked about this before, and Richard, you're gonna love this because I know that you like this album, you like this band. We've talked about Tears for Fears, but this album, The Hurting, is always overshadowed by songs from The Big Chair. When you think about songs from The Big Chair, it's Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World and all that. But this one here is really good. 1983, it's got Mad World, it's got Pale Shelter. I would actually say that this Tears for Fears is probably, I don't know what you think, Joe, but I would say that this is more raw Tears for Fears. It's not as produced, I suppose. I think it's more raw. And I think because of the experiences of both members of the band, especially the one, I can't remember which one it is, Roland, I think it is. Like, he had a rough childhood and all that, and it really comes out in this album. Like, there's some big themes that are on there. What else is on here?
They had a little bit of success with that one, and then they probably, were maybe overcompensating or something, and decided to take everything up another notch for the next one. And it worked. Obviously, it worked very well for them to move them to the next level, stardom, etc.
Yeah, I think so, because like I said, this is really it's really raw. Like some of the songs that are like you just the name of the album, The Hurting, in general, kind of, I think, sums up what it's about. But then you got songs like Suffer the Children, Watch Me Bleed, The Prisoner, Start of the Breakdown. It's really raw Tears for Fears. It's not that radio pop stuff. I mean, it did, like I said, I mean, it did have a couple of hit songs, top 40. But I think that if you want powerful songs, this is the Tears for Fears. But if you want that radio literally overshadowed this. And then the third album, I can't even remember the name of it, was Sowing the Seeds of Love and stuff, which I don't have, and I really want to get it, but I've never seen it anywhere. They're a really good band, but once again, I think they're a real good classic example of what happens when one of your albums is so big that the other ones kind of get overshadowed, I think.
The one that came next, yeah, exactly. And it is actually just called The Seeds of Love. I had to look and make sure that was the case, but it's not around very often, and I don't know, they probably did a remake. It's 89, so it's a little bit just before that, before everything kind of getting stopped out there. But
I don't know why Richard's saying this, maybe I missed something, but try reading the book Go the Fuck to Sleep by Adam Mansbach. So,
yes.
all I can say is there's a video on YouTube of Jennifer Garner reading this. It's the hottest video on YouTube, I swear. Woo! Good Lord.
You know what, Richard? Sometimes I wish I could read that kind of a book to my son, but
by the time he's old enough, it's just going to be awkward. You're in his room.
Yes, there is a Samuel L. Jackson version, which is
that's
hilarious.
right. That's what I know. Yeah.
But the Jennifer Garner one, she's wearing tight jeans and has like thigh-high leather boots, and she's sitting on a chair by a pool reading it. Holy hell. There's no way I could go to bed after her reading that. Nope. Where were we? I think it's Joe's turn, right?
It is.
Thinking about Jennifer Garner. I can't help it. Sorry.
That's right. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up. What's cool, though, is I was actually going to reference Samuel L. Jackson. Things are just going weird tonight because I got more shit that we've already talked about coming up as well. But I was going to say this is Samuel L. Jackson's favorite album because, you can't talk about this album without saying Kick Out the Jams, motherfuckers. So that is Samuel L. Jackson's favorite album. It's not really. Well, it might be. I don't know. Probably not. But everybody likes it. So the MC5, this is one of the ones that I thought, if Trevor's still around, he actually showed this, I think, when he was with us a couple of weeks ago. Some of the godfathers of punk and of that, the Stooges and these guys, that early 70s, late 60s, punky garage, cool stuff. Really good. This is an original copy, so it does actually still say the bad words on it, which, what the hell. I'm not opposed to bad words, but yeah, really good. MC5, Motor City 5, for those that aren't aware, that is the MC because they're out of Detroit. And that's why, again, I'm not sure if he's still around or not, but our friend Trevor of the Motor City himself is a fan of these guys. So yeah, MC5 up next in my. Now, where would you put that? Would you put that at the beginning? Because it's kind of weird. Like, would you put that at the beginning of the M's? Because I've got it at MC is where I've got that. So I don't know if I can do anything right at this point. So
I always put that at MO because of motor, but MC, I'd be okay with MC.
okay,
I got an MC.
I would go with
MC5
MO.
album in this cube, and I put it at ends. I put it at the start for MC.
Yeah,
Either way, I guess. Yeah.
it's kind of like Dr. Hook. Dr. Hook, does Dr. Hook go DRs? Where does Dr. Hook go? Because anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well,
Not
he's
the
a
point.
professional, so he should be at the start, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, doctor. What are you looking up? You're on mute. There you go. You're welcome.
Let's just do this first. And there is Jennifer Gardner reading "Go the Fuck to Sleep."
Go the fuck to sleep.
Good fucking Lord. Okay. All right, I'm going to show a blues album because, I have so much of it. I have virtually no blues, and I don't know shit about blues. I probably shown this a long time ago, but I love a little Chicken Shack. British blues band.
How do I not know this? This is awesome.
Really? Okay, so
I don't
I
recognize
have a couple
that
of their albums. Stan Webb, this is kind of his band. This is, I want to say, like, I don't know, late 60s, I think. They had a couple albums before this. The big one was called 40 Fingers, Freshly Packed and Ready to Serve. And I have 2 copies of it over there. And in that lineup of the band, they had a keyboard player named Christine Perfect, who would go on to marry John McVie and become part of Fleetwood Mac. This is an album after she left, and I love this. It's got a really, really awesome song in here called If I Were a Carpenter. Look that up on YouTube. It's great. Great, late 60s electric British blues. Fantastic.
Nice.
Is that the If I Were a Carpenter, like the Tim Harding If I Were a Carpenter, Bobby Darin If I Were a Carpenter, like
I have no idea.
And You Were a Lady, I'd Marry You Anyway, Have My Baby, that one? It's got to be. How many If I Were a Carpenter?
Well, hold on.
That's an incredible.
I don't know.
That's like one of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song.
If I Were a Carpenter was written by someone named Tim Hardin. So
yep.
James
Tim
Timothy
Hardin, an old 60s folk artist kind of guy. Yeah.
If
Bobby
I Were a
Darin
Carpenter,
covered
covered by
Yeah. Anyway,
apparently it's the same song. So there you go.
Great lyrics, like really beautiful lyrics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same one.
Good question from Alex there. What label is that on? Is that on Blue Horizon? That's a great English blues label.
No, this is London.
Oh yeah. Is it a Canadian repress or is it a Canadian issue?
Nope.
London. Wow, I never seen that before. That's Durham. Okay, yeah.
Durham. Yeah.
So if you like, go look up when we're done here, Jay. Go look up the Chicken Shack version. If I Were a Carpenter.
Just like the old days, I got my homework list from you guys. I've already wrote down a bunch of stuff here. I love this.
How I got into this band, obviously, because I'm a Fleetwood Mac fan, and Dad used to listen to 40 Fingers, so that's how I knew of Chicken Shack. And then when I was in university, I was working at Canadian Tire, and I worked with a guy who was just the biggest fucking stoner that I've ever met. This guy was not sober a minute that I knew him. And one day he was listening to some Chicken Shack, and his name was Brian. I'm like, Brian, you know Chicken Shack? He goes, yeah. And it was the album that I remembered. He goes, have you, this album's called Imagination Lady. He goes, have you heard Imagination Lady? I'm like, no. So he brought in the Imagination Lady CD the next day. I friggin' loved it, and eventually found it on vinyl. So that's my go-to when it comes to Chicken Shack. I know Alex likes chicken fingers, so
Yeah.
that's what him and Sam have when they're out on a date. So, whereabouts are we? I knew someone was going to mention Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Also, Chicken Shack Blues by Amos Milburn is Jumper. What does that mean? Is Jumper? I don't know.
That might be a typo. I don't know. I'm going with
Probably
that typo. But maybe that's what all the kids are saying about good these days. A jumper.
Yes, he takes Alex out for buffalo chicken finger calzones.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. All right. Let's go back to the top. Well, Jay goes, I'm going to go say goodnight to my son, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry, Alex. Alex wanted to see the 2i Columbia on the Grape Jam. Alex, there you go.
He did. Yeah.
It is always fun to find the 2i. I don't own a 6i. I'd love to have a 6i Columbia of something. I have a reissue of a Sun House record that's on the 6i, but anyway. Another one for you, Alex, if you're still here. I know that we share affection for this album and this guy in particular. I listened to this like probably twice in the last 24 hours, just because, like you guys said, sometimes these questions prompt you to listen to albums that you haven't heard in a little bit. 1970, soul rock thing. Okay, Alex, try to get in the comments and see if you can guess this. I'll give you a bunch of clues here. Okay, 1970 release, soul rock type stuff. One of the original members of the Electric Flag, one of the original members of Band of Gypsys, and here's a fun fact, the lead vocalist for the California Raisins claymation crap that came out in like the 80s or 90s, if you remember that. Buddy,
I remember
you
that.
got it. You got it. Buddy Miles, Them Changes. So M for Miles. Sorry, Joe, not under B for Buddy. But Buddy Miles, Them Changes. On the Mercury label, there's your label there, Alex. What a fantastic album. Like, I can't get enough of this. Like, this is just an album that you can put on. The whole thing just rocks. It's just such a smooth, easy, funky ride. Not really funky, but really soul jazz vibe. So what a great guy. So this guy started out, I think his dad was a musician, and he spent a lot of time in circles of really talented like jazz musicians and things like that. So he came up in music, knows music well. So he's so Mike Bloomfield, back to Bloomfield again. He starts the Electric Flag with I think it's Nick Graventius. I forget to pronounce his last name. And anyway, Buddy. So Buddy's a big part of the Electric Flag. Kind of takes over the Electric Flag for a little bit as Bloomfield leaves. But Buddy ends up connecting over time with Jimi Hendrix, and Buddy ends up being he actually plays a little bit on Electric Ladyland, that album, but he is the rhythm section on the Band of Gypsys album with Hendrix, and was kind of, sort of with Hendrix as Hendrix was kind of moving away from the experience aspect and going towards kind of new directions and stuff like that. So Buddy was part of that. So anyway, he's got a really interesting career, really fun to read about the guy, but ultimately this album and the sounds on this album are just, you can put this on and just leave it. There's nothing to skip here. Every song is great. The Canadian connection here on the second side. So the title track Them Changes is actually on, I think it's side 2 of Band of Gypsys that I listened to today because I wanted to hear that version of it. So Hendrix covered it with him. But the other thing was on this side 2, track 1 is a cover by Neil Young's "Down by the River," which was friggin' fantastic. Like anything Neil Young related, I'm all in. I don't know what that is, Rob. Oh, it's Lego. I'm all in for Lego.
Little Spider-Man.
So anyway, so Buddy Miles, great artist, a lot of great history there in rock, and just an outstanding rhythm section. Incidentally, what a wicked album cover!
Yeah.
Like for like, how often do drummers get the spotlight? Not often at all. And what a wicked cover! You know, you got the full fro happening. This is 1970. This is just absolutely a banger of a record. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's
guess who was the drummer on Fathers and Sons?
Was he on there too?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. Something's weird tonight. There's too many,
you're right.
too many things going together. It's all good though. It's all good.
Jim Cuddy's about to walk in Rob's background or something.
Exactly. Just walk through in the back. Oh,
hi guys.
Hey, what's up? Okay. Daryl.
Hey, Rob, I hate to do this to you. You might want to have a fan out in front
Oh,
because I might get you. I might get you hot and bothered on this one.
oh, got on Nickelback. Okay. Good.
This doesn't involve a ladder, and it's not Grease 2,
Okay.
but it is a soundtrack
Okay.
featuring Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh,
Ooh.
All right, so it also includes Kurt Russell and Mel Gibson. I've never seen this movie, but there she is, Michelle Pfeiffer in Tequila Sunrise.
which is funny
Has
because
anybody seen that movie?
no,
Yeah.
but it's funny because this afternoon, as a joke, I just texted Daryl and Joe a screenshot of Michelle Pfeiffer singing "Cool Rider."
Yeah, this was completely unintentional too. It just happens to fall into the tease. But it is a soundtrack from 1988, and the big hit off of this was Ann Wilson and Robin Zander's "Surrender to Me." Why do I have this album? Interesting question. It's what happens, I guess, when you get. And this was not from the record station.
When you
This was
steal
not
from a radio station.
yeah.
This was not from that. It was from another collection, though. So that is why I have it, and I actually don't mind "Surrender to Me." And Duran Duran actually has a song on here called "Do You Believe in Shame," which is pretty good. "Don't Worry, Baby" by the Everly Brothers and the Beach Boys is also on here. And Bobby Darin, "Beyond the Sea." So there we go. It is just smashed with hits, as you can tell.
But
I'll leave this up for about 10 more seconds.
But it's not as good as her best soundtrack, which is Grease 2.
No, that it's not as good as Grease 2, but
Nope.
hey, this is the first time I've ever shown Tequila Sunrise.
Don Henley's going to give you shit for saying Tequila Sunrise.
I know.
You're
We're
going
gonna
to get
get
straight from the
sued.
channel.
You're
Holy
not allowed to
shit.
say those words.
That's right. Before I forget, Jason, I don't know if you've been watching lately, but look these guys up. Black Tea. It's shiny. Sorry, but they're a band out of Regina. This is their first album, but look them up on Spotify or whatever. Give them a listen. I think you might like them. Rob, did you get yours yet? No?
They didn't even answer my email.
I think-
Bastards, so fuck them.
I thought he did. So,
Nope.
okay.
Hey,
Song-
okay.
Songs in the
Second
top
here.
10 now. So,
Okay, Black Tea. Is there a new Canadian music? I think it's Saskatchewan where they're from. The Sheepdogs. Do they have a new album coming out or something?
yeah, they got a new one
Yeah.
too. Yeah, they do.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see a lot of press right now for them. I didn't know what was up, but yeah.
Yep, they do. All right. Up next, we talk about this guy a lot, but we haven't talked about this album. We've talked about Bad Out of Hell 1, but this is Bad Out of Hell 2, which holds up pretty good to Bad Out of Hell 1. Not quite, but pretty good. Still Steinman, still Meatloaf singing, and really, really good. Rock and Roll Dreams come through. Obviously, the song that got played to death, but I'm not sick of it. I'd do anything for love. Life is a Lemon. I want my money back. There's two songs well, it's a double and it's stretched out a little bit, but I'd do anything for love and life is a lemon. I want my money back. Object in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are. Also a very good song, but yeah, little Meatloaf, great, fantastic album artwork as always that you get with Meatloaf. And yeah, so not the big monster hit that the first one was Bat Out of Hell 1, but still pretty big and a nice comeback, a nice resurgence for a period of time, and kind of brought him back in and put him back out on the road. And he was really fantastic live. I got a chance to see him a couple of times, including on that tour. So it was pretty good.
It is another album you don't see very often. I don't think I've ever seen. Well, I mean, it's not like I get out very often, but I've never seen it.
No, you're right. It's not out there very much. That is true. Yeah, but it's really good, and it actually doesn't matter. It's blue. Doesn't matter that it's blue. It's blue. So
okay. So I'm going to show this next because Jay said we're going to see Jim Cuddy walk by my thing. So since I'm doing the letter C, I mean, we should show him, right? So let's do it. Let's do it. This is Jim's third solo album, Skyscraper Soul, from 2011. My least favorite of his solo albums. It's less rootsy, a little more sort of contemporary. I don't know what. It's kind of his love letter to Toronto. That's what it is. And like in New York City, where they have the street that on the right day the sun, looks. Well, we have one in Toronto too. I forget what street it is, but anyway, that's it. This he had one sort of hit, if you will. Had a song in here called "Everyone Watched the Wedding," which was inspired by when William and Kate, the royal family, had their wedding, and just about everyone in Canada watched it. So he wrote a song about that. This is, it's okay. It sounds like Jim Cuddy, but a little less country, a little more. I don't know. It's okay. I don't listen to it very often, to be quite honest. It is an autographed copy because I think every album of his I have is autographed. There's the autographed insert for it right there. And I'm just going to do a quick twofer because I can. Joe's the only one that can cut me off because he got administrator privileges. Since I showed Jim, I'll show his son, Devin. This is Devin Cuddy's album, Dear Jane. Obviously, there it is signed to Rob. Thanks, Devin. I've seen Devin a few times. Different than his dad, for sure. Very different singing voice. He's a piano player. I think it's kind of like, it's got a little more of a cabaret coffee shop kind of feel to it. I really don't know how to describe it, but it's certainly not Blue Rodeo, and it's certainly not his dad, but still enjoyable nonetheless. So this came out in 2023, so I saw him, I don't know, somewhere. I think it was Center of the Square in Kitchener, so I got him to sign this when I met him. So there you go. A Cuddy
Question for Rob.
Yeah.
Of all the Blue Rodeo side project albums, what is the best? What is your favorite of all the side project albums?
Shit.
Or that's a whole video on its own. Is it a Cuddy album? Does Keeler have albums? I assume
he does. He's got like 5 or 6.
I always was more partial to him, but
Jim's got 5 or 6. And Glenn's got 4. Basil's got 1. I really, really like Jim's first album, All in Time. That's really, really good. Not available on vinyl. I little biased though. I got to go with one of Bob Egan's records. I think is my favorite. My buddy, he had an album called. It's called The Promise, and it's good. It's a really depressing album, but it's very different than what you would expect. And he gave it to me one day just after it came out. I was over at his place and he gave it to me. And he goes, "Do me a favor, don't listen to this in the car. It's so goddamn depressing. I don't want to hear that you drove yourself into a telephone pole." But I think it's a cool record, and so I like that, and I like Jim's All in Time. They're probably my favorites. But
cool.
and I don't have it yet, but Colin, the guitar player, has 2 really good surf rock records. He has a band called CNC Surf Factory. So he's got 2 surf rock albums that are really, really good. I just don't own them. So,
speaking of surf rock, Reverend Horton Heat is coming here in July, and the Surfragettes are opening up for him. So I think I know a show that I will be going to.
there you go. I'm ignoring Sam's comments because he's just, I think Sam's had too many wobbly pops this evening. Or he's just being a shit disturber. We love you anyway, Sam. I'm not ignoring you, but I'm ignoring you. So that means it's Jason's turn.
Okay. So one of the 2 artists that dominates this particular cube is probably my, top 5 favorite bands, period. I've yet to see them live. I don't know when that will happen. At some point in life, I hope it will happen. And that band is My Morning Jacket, and this album is called Z, or Zed for us on the panel tonight. This is called Zed. This is My Morning Jacket's 4th album. This is 2005. Incidentally, the other day, they announced MoFi is doing this as a 1-step, which really hurts because I can't justify spending what would amount to, like, what is that going to be for us guys? Like 125 Americans going to end up being, what, 250 delivered? Something ridiculous like that for an album that I have. I just happened to listen to a podcast where Jim James, the lead singer, was like describing the recording of the album and all that kind of stuff. And which makes me love it that much more, knowing what I know now. But ultimately, yeah, it's probably one of their most commercially successful albums. It's on like so many like best of lists that made the Rolling Stone top 500. It's the album that there was 5 guys in the group to start the group. 2 of them left and on the tour for the preceding album. And then when this album came out, it was with 2 brand new guys. So it was very much like, all right, we got 2 brand new bodies here. Let's kind of throw caution to the wind and just see what the hell happens. I think it was one of those stories, when your bands, you go away into this remote place and all you can do is record. There's no distractions, that whole kind of vibe, right? So this was kind of, they didn't call it an experimental project, but you could tell based on his description that this was kind of a different sort of recording. It also was the first time that there was an exterior or an outside producer coming in. Otherwise, it was always just the lead guy, Jim James, doing it. And the producer for this was a guy named John Leckie, who produced probably my favorite album of all time, or one of the top 5, which is Pink Floyd's Metal. So Pink Floyd's Metal, I think was engineered by John Leckie. Anyway, so he was the producer on this album. Best song on this. Well, there's a lot of great songs on this, but Gideon is like probably my favorite My Morning Jacket song, and that's on this album. Fantastic stuff. This is like, for what it's worth, it's got the whole colored wax thing, which is kind of nice, I guess, but a purple wax on this. It was just reissued because it had its 20-year anniversary, and apparently the reissue is, well, I don't know if it's going to be better on my humble stereo system, but I guess it was remastered and it was supposed to be really good. But now MoFi is doing it, so I can't justify it. If MoFi is out there, because I know MoFi is watching, they're probably one of the 300 people watching right now. And if they want to send me an album, that would be super kind of them. But yeah, one of my favorite bands ever, and one of their best albums, My Morning Jacket, Zed.
I'm sure they're putting it in the mail right now.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah. Don't forget the bubble wrap.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt. Sam's pleading with you to make more content because he's not satisfied with what he's paying for on your OnlyFans. He says the feet videos are not enough.
The underwear didn't get in the mail yet, eh?
Oh, good God. All right, Daryl, it's your turn. Follow that.
All right. So this isn't in my queue, but I just wanted to show this because this was a wonderful gift from our friend Joe here. And I was listening to it last night, and it is a fantastic album. If you have not heard April Wines live at the Macombo, fantastic album.
Yeah.
It's on the green wax. And You Won't Dance With Me.
I will not.
That is
What was
a
that called, Daryl?
fantastic
Daryl.
song.
What was
Why
the name
not?
of that album, Daryl?
It's April Wines live at the El Macombo.
I feel like a terrible Canadian for not knowing anything beyond the radio hits of April Wine. They're everywhere. You can find those albums all over the place.
For good reason.
Yeah, so I wanted to promote that one because that's a really good album. I was listening to it last night again. Wonderful. So back to my cube. Speaking of 80s new wave, I don't know, synth stuff, I guess you would, new wave, I guess we would call it. This has my favorite, once again, my favorite song by this band too. And I think I got this from a Secret Santa a few years ago. Thompson Twins and Into the Gap. And my favorite Thompson Twins song is Doctor, Doctor. I don't know what it is about that song.
Oh, man.
Richard's got to be all over this. I think Richard loves Thompson Twins as well, along with OMD and all those other crazy bands from the 80s that are like this. I can't remember what else is on here, though. It's got a weird back cover, though. This is the one that has Hold Me Now on it as well.
Yeah.
But I do not know what that is on the back cover. It looks like a map heart. I don't know.
Pangea.
I don't know what that is, but Into the Gap by the Thompson Twins. So I think you're seeing kind of a theme here. I do like the 80s. I do like new wave. I do like synth pop. And just, yes, they had their main hits on the radio, but they got some weird stuff on these records. And I think that back cover kind of proves that. I don't know what that is. Any ideas?
Nope.
That is
Not sure.
That is one of the weirdest back covers I've ever seen. I have no idea what that is.
It looks like a map.
Yeah.
It looks like Pangea.
It could be
too.
Pangea. I'm not sure what that is. Wow. Yeah. It's not telling me what it is, but anyway, yeah. New wave stuff. Thompson Twins and Doctor Doctor with Hold Me Now. Those are the two big hits off of there, and I think they had a couple others on their other album. That's about it.
I just has this vision of you, Daryl, back in the 80s with the Flock of Seagull hair.
Oh man, I have the Flock of Seagulls album.
It's a good
I
album.
bet you had the Flock of Seagulls hair, though. That would be awesome. We got to Photoshop that.
Yeah, you should Photoshop me with that, and then Photoshop me, Joe, with the guy from Prodigy there with the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff going on. Yeah, exactly. I'll see what I can come up with. Yeah, I'll see what I can come up with. So, Jay, if I'm going to order, there is a 20th anniversary deluxe edition of Zed as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably
I would
that's
do
not
that
what
one.
that was, right? That was the original
this
that
is,
you had.
This is just some generic reissue. It's actually, I got to be honest, like it's but that, getting into the record nerd stuff, the GZ record plant, they've gotten a lot better, but this was, I think, before they got a lot better. It's like roughed edge vinyl. Like I like the color and all that, but the actual quality of this pressing isn't good. And I almost bought the 20th one that you're looking at when it was announced. And I only did find out, like literally the other day when I was listening to that podcast, that Emily Lazar, who's like this famous mastering engineer who does a lot of their work, redid the tapes for Zed on the album you're looking at.
Okay.
And
cool.
I don't know which one the MoFi is, if it's Emily's remaster or if it's the original, which is fine. Like I can't hear the difference, to be honest, on this stuff. But I would probably, if I was going to get it, I'd get that 20th. I'd get the anniversary remaster.
Well, it just got ordered, so it got added to my pile at my distributor. So I can just add that in there. So because I'm getting some stuff shipped next week, so looking forward to that. Speaking of GZ, there is a really cool, about a 16-minute documentary about vinyl pressing, and actually them versus the American pressings and stuff like that. That's out there. That just came out, I think, yesterday. That's the one that I sent you guys. Daryl, I know you watched. I'm not sure if Rob watched.
No, that was a really good documentary.
I watched
liked
that
it
this morning. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. It's like I'm not sure if everything is going to tie together tonight or not, but
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
pretty cool. So, all right.
Yeah, I didn't know they had another thing on that. It was amazing to know that they had just kind of kept the production going. Like all those years of like when vinyl wasn't resurging,
Yeah.
they were still putting out the odd thing. Like they still had the plants going, right? It's so crazy.
Yeah, that's where a lot of that 90s stuff got pressed. That's why you see it a lot on the made in Czechoslovakia, right?
Yeah.
So there's another one that I saw a preview for it, and it comes out, I think, on Monday. The Man with a Million Records. Looks like it's going to be pretty cool. It's this old dude. Not that you necessarily have to be an old dude to have a million records. Pardon?
Is he from Japan? Like somewhere like in Japan?
I don't know. I don't remember. Like I said, it was just a clip. The whole thing comes out on YouTube. I've got it bookmarked to notify me. I'll send it to you for sure because he might.
Yeah, because I had seen something a few years ago about a guy. I think he was from Japan or something. There's just records everywhere, stacked everywhere, and people in the comments were like, "What a waste! He's just a hoarder and stuff like that." Which I mean, maybe, but if that's what he likes, that's what he likes.
Yeah, no, that might be a guy in Brazil. There's a guy in Brazil that's got a warehouse full of stuff. This guy looked like it was actually fairly well curated and taken care of. I'll send it to you. And no, we say ZZ Top.
No, we don't. We say ZZ.
I don't say ZZ Top. I say ZZ Top. But then I put shit in the wrong place in my record bins too. So
we're just trying. We're fucking with them, Joe. You were supposed to agree and say yes. We say ZZ.
Fine. What's weird is the radio station in Regina is Z99, so it's like, and this is ZZ Top on Z99. It's like, make up your fucking mind. Is it Z or is it Z? What is going on?
I think we need to take a stand against the American aggressors, and it's Z.
That's right, exactly. Megadeth. That's where I am. Megadeth. Pete sells. Who's buying? That's why I thought Trevor, if he's still around, I don't know if he is or not. He fell asleep maybe, but anyway. This is one, not for just him, but for everybody else too. So they've got their brand new one out, their last one, their last tour. They're out with Iron Maiden. They're out doing a bunch of solo shows as well. I've never had a chance to see Megadeth. I would go and see them. I don't know if I'd go and see them on their own, but I would have liked to have seen them open up for Maiden. I think that would have been a great show. And more Dave Mustaine coming up later, but for right now, Megadeth and Peace sells, but who's buying?
All right. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a choice. Do you want a nice guy or a wanker next?
Oh, wanker.
I would prefer
Wanker
a
for sure.
guy. Fine.
Okay.
You guys. Fuck you.
Since this is the letter C, a good portion of my letter C's is this jackass. Can't stand him. I like his music. So I got a fair amount of Clapton. I mean, the guy's got a pretty massive discography. So this was actually my dad's from back when I was a young lad. Came out in 1988 when I was a mere 10 years old. 6 LPs, and it is career spanning up to that point. So there's some Yardbirds, some John Mayall's Blues Breakers, some Cream, some Blind Faith, some Delaney and Bonnie, Derek and the Dominoes, and then some solo Clapton stuff. So if you want a little bit of everything, it's a really good little box set.
Can you Rob or the other or Daryl or Racer Joe, one of you guys elaborate on Delaney and Bonnie? Give me your Cole's notes.
I'm the expert.
I have the On Tour album. I think it's fantastic.
Yes.
I wish I knew more about their history because it's just so cool. There's so many people that are entwined in that universe.
Well, that's the thing, right? And I don't so that was my dad's favorite album, and that's what originally got me into Delaney and Bonnie, is that On Tour album. And I still have his copy. And any one of their albums, I think they had 5. Get them if you see them, because they're all really, really good. And they all have similar famous people on them. Like there's the one album, I think it's D&B Together. Dwayne Allman's the guitar player. And there's another one, Little Richard is the piano player. Like, it's
Unreal.
insane. So I don't know the history of how they ended up with a lot of famous friends. But they just played this sort of cool, I want to call it rock revival, but it wasn't revival because it was sort of the OG at the time. But and Clapton was their most famous friend, and through him, they met George Harrison, and they just kind of wrote this like southern rootsy rock kind of stuff that sort of kind of like the band, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that appealed to Clapton because Clapton wanted to join the band when they were making Big Pink at Woodstock, and they're like, no. So then he went and did the Derek and the Dominoes thing, which was his attempt at that same sort of genre. And it's just, they were so good live, and everyone wanted to play with them. How that happened, I don't know. How they went from unknown sort of singers and songwriters to having some famous people. I don't know if there's anyone famous on the first album because I don't have that one. But any of their albums, whether it's Home, whether it's D&B Together, whether Motel Shot, if you see one, just get it because they're great. They're all really good. I'm just missing one. I'm missing the first one, and I'm missing Motel Shot. But man, I love every one of them. So
yeah. I love those stories of just anytime, and like, I know you're not a fan of jazz or whatever, but like that's a great example of just so many different artists just intermingling and working on each other's albums and things like that. I just love that shit.
Yeah. I don't know the underlying question. I don't know the underlying answer. How did they fall in with that circle of people? I don't know, but they are so good. So anytime you see any of their albums, so good.
They all bought weed from the same dude.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish off my Clapton. I'm just doing a twofer because I can. I have a bunch of Clapton, but I'm also going to show this as well. Unplugged. I think this is not only the first Clapton record I owned. This was, I think, probably one of the first CDs I ever bought back in 1992 because I remember watching this on MTV with my dad for Much Music, I suppose, and really digging it, not really understanding who the hell Clapton was because I was like 12 or 4. I guess I was 14. I'm like, I don't know his significance in music, but I enjoyed it, so I went and bought the CD. So one of the first albums I ever owned. I think they did a deluxe reissue of this with some extra stuff on it, but I'm good with the original. That's all you need. So there you go. There's a couple of the probably dozen or dozen and a half Clapton albums that I have.
It's like Sam's got a nice factoid there on Clapton there in the comments. Jesus.
Good Lord, Sam. It is an excellent box set. It's good because it's got a little bit of everything. I'm trying to keep this serious, sir, so I'm just going to continue to ignore Sam. Clapton already had 2 supergroups. Yeah, exactly. So no surprise. I just don't know how Clapton hooked up with Delaney and Bonnie. I don't really know how that went down, but the trivia, Jay, on the tour album that you've got, it's got the car on it. You see the feet sticking out of it.
Yes.
You know who that is?
I forget.
Bob Dylan.
Yes, you're right.
Dylan's not on the album, but he was out with them, and that's him sleeping in the car.
Just hanging out with the gang. God almighty.
Yeah, they were a throuple, I think. I'm not positive of
that. Yes, it does have Rollin' and Tumblin'. It's the last track on here.
Who was there was a famous guitarist, like a guitar god level guitarist that shit all over Clapton doing an acoustic version of Layla. I forget who it was. Someone was like, that was a travesty. Like, whatever. It was cool. It was acoustic.
I liked
the point
it.
of it all was. So did I. But I remember like a famous guitarist, like, they didn't chew him out, but he just made a remark like it wasn't, oh, yeah, you can't do that to such a crazy, great song. And
I like some of the others. I mean, like Tears in Heaven's really sappy, and I get it. It's for his son. But I like some of the other stuff he did on here, like San Francisco Bay Blues, Alberta Walking Blues. I like that little blues little segment that he did in there. I thought that was really good. So Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. Good stuff on here. I haven't listened to this in forever, so I should probably leave it out and spin it later. Okay. We still got 25 minutes, so back to Jay.
Okay, I'm going back to Canada here. Although it was recorded in the States, live at Carnegie Hall, 1972, from a Canadian group formed in Toronto in '69. And I think of Chicago when I think of this band, the band Chicago when I think of this band, because it's rock with a brass section, kind of rock, almost like there's some jazz related stuff to it. But to be honest, I don't know anything about this band aside from maybe a couple of radio hits and this album. And I found this album at a collection that I was able to go through, and it was totally still in the actual shrink from the 70s.
You're going Lighthouse, right? I knew it. Lighthouse Live. Yep.
What a great album. And
It is.
the best part of this album is just how, so apparently they did some reading on this. They had played Carnegie Hall in the past, or they played New York in the past. This is Carnegie Hall. And I want to read what's on the back of this. It's like a typed note, and it's all the notes are signed. Like the note is signed. It's not like a real note. It's just the album cover, but it's signed by the members. This band had like a dozen people in it, like anywhere from 11 to 13 people. So massive amount of some classically trained artists, some rock musicians, just a great collection of musicians that just wanted to play. And the intro, the first 30 seconds of the first track, you get the introduction by some American guy at Carnegie Hall, and then you get presumably the lead singer, and he kind of introduces the band, or he introduces oh, we're here to do this, we're from Canada, and he's just a total cliched, apologetic kind of Canadian. We're just going to do our best, and all this really good stuff, right? Anyway, the back of the album is whoever wrote the note, someone in the band said, "This album is a live recording of a concert at Carnegie Hall, February 1972. We had originally intended to use the recording only as a 1-hour national radio broadcast, but something special and exciting happened. It was a snowy night outside and a warm, responsive full house inside, and it cooked. The songs we did took on a brand new feel, even though we had recorded most of them on our 2 previous GRT albums," which is the label that they're released on. Because apparently they were not doing good on RCA, so RCA dumped them and they went on GRT. There was such a positive response from many people who heard the tape that we and our producer decided to release it as 2 record set. So it just feels to me that when you're listening to this album, you're listening to a band that knew in the moment they were firing on all cylinders and they killed the performance, and they're like, the hell with it, let's put this out as an album, which I always I am all in when a band realizes they nailed it. You think about bands that tour and they do, dozens of shows a year. You always wonder if some nights they're phoning it in, stuff like that. And so when a band kind of acknowledges that, no, this one was friggin' great, we were on the mark. So I'm always kind of all in on things like that. And so this album does lay out like that. It is a pretty fantastic listen. And I thought it was pretty cool too that I found it in the original sealed 1970s crinkly wrapped and everything else. So go.
Little connection. Skip Prokop, the drummer, went to my alma mater, the University of Guelph.
No way. I always like the GRT. The GRT label too I always like that. I don't know why. Just kind of the colors or whatever. It looks very 70s.
I had that. It was in my dad's collection, but I didn't keep it after he passed away, and I kicked myself. I should have.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like Chicago, you got your brass section, which kind of, brings the live experience to a different kind of level. So
That's a lot of guys to pay, though, right? That's the only problem. You got to be like Rush or like Triumph. There's only 3 dudes. You only got to split it 3 ways instead of 18 ways. But
I know. I wondered that too. It's these guys have side jobs. They're actual, they're teachers or janitors or whatever else. But this can't be the full-time job. There's 13 people splitting that money.
No, really, I'm in the band. No, you're not, Mr. Johnson. No.
Yeah.
Record Hound saying you met Skip and Paul. They're both really good guys. Very cool.
Cool.
Very cool. All right, Daryl.
All right, so here's my problem. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up. I feel like
you can do it.
Well, the only way that I can say this is this one here is a what would you call this? It's a guilty pleasure of mine, I suppose. Because when this album came out, I don't know what year it came out. Give me 1 sec. I'll see if I can find out. 1987. I would have been like 8 years old. But I remember her when I was about 10, and I always thought that she was the cutest singer ever. I was like, she is hot. And it's
Oh
Tiffany.
my God.
It's a
Yeah.
complete guilty pleasure. I think this is the one that has. Yeah, I saw him standing there. I think we're alone now. Should have been me. I don't know what it is about her, and not only that, but I actually have in my collection. I also have Taylor Dane, and I also have Expose.
Wow.
So all of those girl groups, single girls from the 80s, kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, and I have no idea why. I got no clue, but I always thought she was gorgeous. It was Tiffany. So if you ask me what her full name is, I couldn't even tell you. I think she was like 16 when she released that album.
Now, Daryl, was she the one that kind of, maybe a lot of them did it, but wasn't she one of the ones that like got famous or like kind of put in her pieces of like performing in malls?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think
first
so.
video,
Yeah,
the video for I Think We're Alone Now has a lot of mall performance clips in it, if I remember correctly, because I played it at nauseum working in the bar at the time. But I also played Taylor Dane. I also played all of those at that time. So yeah,
My sister.
You
had all those
didn't. You didn't.
tapes.
All I heard was mall, and I'm going. There's no way Daryl just showed Tiffany.
of course you did.
Oh,
You did.
it is a guilty pleasure of mine.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. We listen to what we listen to.
that's true.
That's
We
good.
like what we like.
Yeah,
I like the
I think
Tommy James version better. So
Yes, yeah. Actually, I got to get Tommy James and the Shondells. It's one of my
Yes.
mom's favorite bands, and I don't have them.
I got the greatest hits.
there's probably a live version coming out for Record Store Day. You could probably get.
And if anyone wants to see a good Tommy James interview, go over to Americana Sam's channel because he interviewed the man,
He did
Mhm.
so.
which
did.
still amazes me. That's the coolest video on the VC period, I think.
Pretty good stuff.
All right, Joe.
Okay, I'm going Canadian as well. This is a pretty beat up copy, but it is an autographed copy of Men Without Hats, 2-hit wonder that they are. The first one came off of here, of course, Safety Dance, but Ivan, lead singer, he always does the. I went and double checked to see if that was in fact his signature, and it is, unless the one that I found that was authenticated online was also bullshit. But anyway, this is just, it's a horrible copy. I have a much better copy, but I came across this one in a collection. Safety Dance and then Pop Goes the World. They were just here at the casino, the 3,000 seater or whatever, and it was full the other night. So still drawing and still getting people out to their shows and that. And I think that I didn't go. I think they probably put on a pretty good show though. But good Canadian kids out of Quebec, I believe they are from Men Without Hats, and and the Safety Dance. Well, the Rhythm of Youth, but Safety Dance is the one that you will likely know them for. Either that or Pop Goes the World. I'm going to that same casino tomorrow night to see Danko Jones, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good show.
Danko Jones.
Yeah,
Cool.
that'll be a great show.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, since I did the wanker last time, now I'm going to do the gentleman. Because we're doing letter C. I talk about this guy a lot, but I don't know that I've ever actually even shown this. Tom Cochrane and Red Rider, the Symphony Sessions. I remember when we first started doing this a couple years ago, somebody, I don't remember who, kept telling me, you got to find the Symphony Sessions. You got to find the Symphony Sessions. And never found, I mean, you can get it on CD, but I don't want it on CD. I could never find it on vinyl anywhere. And then I was browsing through Facebook Marketplace back in the summer, and the guy in the next town over had this for a stupidly cheap price. And so I got it, and it's really, really good. It is Tom Cochrane Red Rider, backed by, I believe it is the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. So it's great. It's rock. It's rock with an orchestra. It's a lot of fun. There's a few big hits on here. White Hot, Avenue A, Lunatic Fringe, Boy Inside the Man, and then there's some other deep cuts as well. Recorded March 17th and 18th, 1989. So, like I said, it's the only time I've ever seen this on vinyl, but if you stumble across one, it's really, 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 really good.
His version of Cohen's Bird on a Wire is on there too, right? I think.
I believe so.
I think it is.
Yeah, Bird on a Wire. Yeah.
Yeah, which is well done. I think Leonard was a hero of Tom's. I think somewhere along the line, as most Canadian songwriters, Leonard was that.
And Tom was a hero of mine. And when I met him, he couldn't have been a nicer gentleman.
And you said that's all acoustic, eh? That whole thing.
Well, I mean,
there's an album I had from the 90s, and it was also acoustic by him, but it was only on CD. I can't even remember the name of it. It had like White Hot and stuff on it. It was really good too.
Yeah.
Okay, it was in one of those cardboard
Digipack,
like a 3 fold out.
Oh yeah. Huh.
He does really good acoustic stuff, man, Tom Cochrane.
Yeah. When I saw him doing his Songs and Stories concert last year, it was mostly acoustic. Maybe one electric song. It was really good.
Nice.
On 2 Red Rider records yesterday that were beat to hell. Yeah, Red Riders. I mean, easy to find up here. Obviously, maybe not as easy for Richard, but yeah, can't go wrong with any of them, to be quite honest. But that Symphony Sessions is probably my favorite of all of them, except for Mad World, I guess. What's Record Hound saying, Brian? Tommy's book is a really good read. Roulette Records owner Morris Levy was a mobster, and Tommy tells a lot in the book. That'd be an interesting read. Not that I have time to read a book, but
Songs of a Circling Spirit. Does that ring a bell? Maybe.
Yeah, that's the one. Songs of a Circling Spirit. It's a pretty good acoustic album.
Not that I remembered it, but I just went looking. Yeah, so Lunatic Fringe on there, Brave and Crazy, All the King's Men. So there's lots of stuff that was, not the big hits or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty good. I don't see a album version of it anywhere, just CDs. So, but yeah, he's got so much good stuff. Ragged Ass Road is a fantastic album as well. I really like Ragged Ass Road. That's a great one.
Yep. All right, Jay. Bring us around again. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So I showed what the hell was it I showed before? The Buddy Miles album I showed. I was all high on that because of the cover of Down by the River by Neil Young. So I'm sitting last night where I'm just kind of listening to music, and I'm trying to listen to albums from this cube just to kind of do my homework and prep. And I put an album on that I hadn't listened to in a while. And I was listening to the album like, oh, man, this is killer. How come, you find an album you own, you're like, why am I not listening to this more often? And I put it on, I'm listening to it, and I flip the side, and it goes to the second side. And I'm like, I'm having a conversation with the family, and all of a sudden, another cover of Down by the River's playing. And it's just fantastic. And like two in a row, like I had listened to Buddy Miles' album like a few albums earlier. So two albums kind of in a row of a cover of a Canadian, Neil Young, Down by the River. It was a fantastic cover. It's not the purpose of why I'm showing the album. The album was in the cube, and the album is just amazing on its own, but I was glad that it kind of tied into some kind of Canadian element. So what this album is, I'm a massive fan of anything and everything to do with Noble Records. The Dylan, his channel, the personality, the guy seems like he's the most genuine, honest, great dude. And he's introduced me to a lot of great music. And if I had endless money, I would own every reissue that or everything he puts out. Because I'm kind of into, you find a guy that references stuff, you start to kind of adopt his listening style a bit. Like, if I like this, then I should like this. And so most of that kind of obscure hard rock from like the Private Press stuff. And I'm not trying to be snooty. I just happen to like the sound of what I'm listening to. So I bought a couple of his. I've got, I think, maybe 4 or 5 of the albums that they've done at Noble Records. This one is from 1970, and in the liner notes, there's a great sheet that is just written by the founding member of the band, and it's just the story of the group, and it's just a wonderful read, and it's just so fantastic. And the story starts with, and how cliched but amazing is this, of a bunch of like 13-year-olds that watched the Ed Sullivan Show the night the Beatles came on. That's the way the liner notes start, is this guy phoning his buddy the next day. Did you see that shit? And the buddy's like, yeah, I got a guitar. And they form the band, right? And the band, from 64, when that apparently happened, he's 13 years old. This is out of Brooklyn, New York. And these guys kind of get together, and there's a story of all the different personnel changes and 13-year-olds trying to find a vocalist. How the hell do you do that, right? And
Yeah.
So just cool stories like that. Anyway, long story short, the band's called Magic Ship. This was their only album they ever released. It's just great psych hard rock stuff from 1970, and Noble Records decided to reissue it with Garrison, which is like that one of the labels that they do a lot of work with, that like just a lot of great obscure kind of hard rock stuff. Garrison's the company there. Anyway, so a fantastic listen. Like the whole album is just amazing. Like if I didn't know this, I would recommend anyone get this. But the sad part of the story is like they release a bunch of singles, they release like a demo, and they release this one album, and that's it. They get this apartment in New York where they're kind of just sort of like using as a rehearsal space. They're doing a bunch of rehearsing. They go out to eat. They come back to the apartment. It's on fire. They lose everything. End of the band. They're all like 20 years old or younger. It's just such a kind of a tragic, shitty end of the story. But also just like the way the guy ends his little blurb on the liner notes is he says this. He says, most of us hadn't even reached our 20th birthdays, and we played close to 100 shows, made 4 singles, 1 demo, and 1 LP. We will never forget those years. We were not a household name. We are just one of hundreds of groups from a very special time in the evolution of rock and roll. Like, it's just a great listen, and it's a great story of just dudes that just love music and just played their heart out. Unfortunately, it ended the way it ended, but anyway, check out that Magic Ship album. I'm sure it's probably streaming somewhere or YouTube at the very least, but fantastic.
Cool
shit.
cover. I like that cover.
I know, yeah, it's fucking great, eh? Yeah.
It's kind of screams psych, no doubt, when you see that.
Have you got many more of his, Jay? I don't have any of his. But when I say his, the Noble Record reissue stuff.
Yeah, so I got this, and when I bought this, I bought something called Luigi, Anna and the Boys, which also, just like this one, came with this wicked slip of like liner notes. And again, another story of a young band just trying to make it, never made it, but there's just so much lost music out there. The best one I have, hands down, one of my favorite records I own is one of his earliest reissues, which was that band called Farm, F-A-R-M, like Farm.
Yeah.
That is my favorite that he's done. But I also have Growers of Mushrooms is the other one I have. Also great.
Cool.
Like, I haven't been disappointed yet. I just, by sheer, shittiness of the exchange rate and the shipping, I can't afford to buy everything he puts out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that for sure.
Well, next time I'm down in Charlotte, I'll go to Noble Records. It's literally around the corner from my office.
Man,
I've never been, but I've driven past it.
Yeah.
Not knowing it was there last time I was in Charlotte. So I can walk from my office to Noble Records.
Wow.
So next time I'm down there, I'll see what I can find for you.
They got a little bit of snow in the last little while down there.
Although I've told my boss that I have no desire to visit America anytime soon. Do you have any more you want to show? Because it's getting close to 10, so we'll make this the last round. You want to do a little speed round there, Jay? You got any more?
My last one I'll show. Sam, are you still there? Okay. The other major artist in this cube, probably another top band for me, like My Morning Jacket. This album, I would say, I call it a firebox album. If a fire in my house happens and the dog and the family is out safe, I'm going for my records, and this is one of 5 albums I'm going to grab. Probably my favorite album I don't know, one of my favorite spins in the house. Top 3 favorite spins, and that's Long Lost by Lord Huron. I know Sam's a massive fan of this. This is flawless. Everything about this album is great. I don't know what to say about it aside from, like I said, it's one of my top favorite albums, period. Long Lost, Lord Huron. That's all I got.
Good one. Good one. All right, Daryl, speed round.
All right, speed round. Okay, so I don't really show these guys too much, but some Canadian. It took taking me this long to get to Canadian content.
Class Tiger.
I'll show some Toronto though. So 80s Canadian rock, and I have 2 of these. I actually got I got this one from Joe as some VCLT. That's the Get It on Credit album. Big hit that's on here is Your Daddy Don't Know. But yeah, no, just good old 80s Canadian rock music. This next one, probably the most famous album by, I'd assume, this band. And that's Total 4. I know we've talked about this before. Joe's been wanting to get it, but I just haven't got out to get it. Africa and Rosanna, I think, is the 2 big songs that are on here. So Total 4. I think most people are familiar with that one. Next one is a band that is named after a Klingon character from Star Trek. And they had 2 hits. That's the band T'Pau. They did Heart and Soul, and China in Your Hands is the other one. This is usually when you see the Virgin label, it's not a green Virgin label. So this is kind of a different one to me. But once again, I think they're an underrated band. You just don't hear anything about them. Some people say they're a one-hit wonder, but they did 2 hits. And then I got 3 more. I'll speed through this. Of course, everybody knows this one. Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. Is this the one? I think it's got Burn. Yeah, Burn in Hell. Burn in Hell is like my favorite Twisted Sister song because of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, where they're sitting on the car and he's going through that area trying to escape. Rob, you'll like this one. This is my favorite U2 album, I think, is The Unforgettable Fire. Yeah. Pride in the Name of Love is my favorite U2 song by a country mile. So got to show that as the U. And I will finish this off with my favorite male singer, pretty much from Canada. I've talked about this guy ad nauseum, but I don't know if I've shown this album by Gino Vanelli. This is the one that has Wild Horses on it. Big Dreamers Never Sleep. I actually had to replace this. I bought this album off of Discogs from a guy, and when it got to my location, it was so battered. I don't know if you guys saw that video recently by Jack at Vinyl Voyage. He was talking about this too. He got one that was just, they like stuffed it in a box and it was all bent and everything. I got one that wasn't even protected. It was, when I got it, it was wet, water damaged, and had a complete edge warp on it. And so I had to replace it. So when I was in Kingston for my little medical situation there, I ended up getting that place in Kingston. So those are my T's, U's, and V's.
Right. Joe, bring us home.
Not to be confused with a UT. Anyway, UTI. Yeah. Anyway, another one that falls into the category of why does Joe have that is Melanie Martinez. Pretty good. I listened to this today. I don't actually know why I have it. Well, I know why I have it because it came in a collection. I listened to it and I liked it, so I kept it. But it's very cool. It's got a little bit of pop-up going on. She was on The Voice back in, I don't know, the 3rd season or something along the lines of that. Nice pink vinyl. It's a bit of a concept album because it's called K-12, and it's a lot of songs about being in school, Wheels on the Bus, Class Fight, The Principal, Show and Tell. So pretty decent. She's got a new one coming out in the next little while, I think maybe next month. A couple more if Trevor is around or was around. 2 more for him. These are a couple of my Metallica bootlegs. So Metallica Kill 'Em All in Chicago, 1983. It's pretty, I flip over the wrong one. It's pretty raw. It's pretty roughly produced, but it is number 24 out of 100. So pretty cool, Metallica. And then this one is Metallica, and it's also got a little bit of Megadeth on it as well. So it's another bootleg on here. Is Creeping Death, Ride the Lightning. It's early stuff. Some recorded demos and things like that. So that's kind of cool. What do I got here? Oh, Michael Martin Murphey. Actually, just Michael Murphy on this one. Little country rock. Wildfire. You'd probably know that song. One of those yacht rocky, pretty decent songs. But another artist that I got in a nice collection with a bunch of stuff, and he's more country than he is pop, but he had that crossover with Wildfire. Sam, if you're out there, this one's for you, my friend. A little bit of Michael Nesmith and the First National Band. This album is in horrible shape, but I did keep it for now, hoping to find a little better copy. So Michael Nesmith and the First National Band. Michael Nesmith, of course, of the Monkees. Midnight Oil, not the album that you hear the most of, but Power and the Passion on here. It's great song. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. I like it. I think I had that before Beds Are Burning came out. 2 more, and then I will get out of here. Little Miles Davis, just because he kind of finishes it off. Sketches of Spain. I showed Bitches Brew last week, but Miles Davis, I'm trying to understand my jazz a little bit more. I know listening to Miles Davis is a little bit cliche when someone's going, I'm trying to get into jazz, so I think I'll listen to possibly one of the biggest jazz musicians that there are, but that, and then lastly, Juxtaposition, Miley Cyrus and Plastic Hearts. I've got a couple of Miley Cyrus. If we call them guilty pleasures, she's one for me. Parental Advisory, no shit, it's Miley Cyrus. I think everything she does has a parental advisory that goes along with it. But she's got a new album coming out, I think, as well in the next little while. And yeah, so there you go. The M's, or at least half of the M's. Anyway, it's only the M to the I's. So in whatever kind of friggin' order, because yeah, Miles Davis belongs in there because that's the way that Discogs puts it. So judge me all you want, Rob.
I judge you harshly, Joe.
I know you do. I don't have a problem with that, though. You go ahead and judge me all you fucking want.
Harshly.
I know.
You're still my friend, but I judge you harshly.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Tonight, as I'm lying in bed, I'm going to say to the wife, "Can you believe how Joe organizes his records?" And she's going to.
I'm not even going to hang out with that dude. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Bunch more letter C on here. This is an artist called the Coppertone. She is a blues rock musician from King City, Ontario, which is just north of Toronto, just past Canada's Wonderland. This is an EP called Hymns for the Hollow, which came out in 2011. She has a full-length album as well. She has since changed her name. She no longer goes by the Coppertone. She goes by something else, and the music's different. I think this is colored vinyl. It is. Look at that. Blue. So yeah, some good blues rock by the Coppertone. And then we have my favorite Sheryl Crow record, Tuesday Night Music Club. No, this is not the original Record Store Day. This is the first reissue of it, and it's on some kind of bluish green vinyl. We have to show gatefolds because that's the rule. Boring. Great record. They reissued this. I don't know why they haven't released the Globe sessions on vinyl. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that happens someday. Band I've talked about a lot that I love, originally from Oshawa, Ontario, now from Guelph/Hamilton. Cuff the Duke. Absolutely love these guys. Alt country. Think like Uncle Tupelo kind of thing. This is their second album, self-titled. Came out on vinyl in 2018. Originally came out in, I want to say, like 2007, something like that. At the time, this was their major label debut, and I remember the single, which was Take the Money and Run, was actually video, was on Much Music. I remember quite a bit. And then they only had one major label album, and the rest were sort of indie. But great alt country, if you want to call it that. And we're going to close this out because we're in the letter C. I can't get this one out of the sleeve. There we go. I have everything Creedence Clearwater Revival put out, so I'm going to show this. This is the concert which was recorded, I believe, in Oakland, I think. Of all the studio albums, all the live albums, but I have this because this was one of the first CDs I ever bought. I remember my dad and I going to this. There was this when CDs like exploded in the early 90s. That was the thing. There was this like CD superstore kind of thing in the next town over. Went over and I went and bought a bunch of CDs the first time I got a CD player, and I was going to get some Creed. So Dad goes, get the live record. It's really good. So it is really good. Love it. And we'll close this out with the Gollywogs. You're going, well, that's G. That's not C. Astute observation, but the Gollywogs was what CCR was called before they were called Creedence Clearwater Revival. They sound a lot different. Tom Fogerty, John's brother, was the lead singer and principal songwriter. And then they discovered that John could sing better and John could write better. So he took over those duties, and they changed their name to Creedence Clearwater Revival, and the rest is history. So there you go. Done. Done. That's it. Good night, everybody. Bye. That was fun. That's going to be nice and easy to put those away. So what's Record On saying? Gollywogs 45s on Scorpio label are kind of rare. Yes. I don't know that I've ever seen one. Read about them, but don't have them. So. But I'm glad I have this compilation. I mean, I don't listen to it a lot, but because big John Fogerty fan, when I saw it at my local store a couple of years ago, I'm like, I should pick that up. So. All right. We'll do as we always do. We'll go around the horn and promote what's going on in our channel. I'm not going to ask Jay what's going on his channel because Jay doesn't make videos anymore. But Jay and I need to talk because we got maybe a podcast episode. We got a podcast thing potentially brewing. I just need to get off my ass and organize it. So,
hey, I will say this: this is awesome, guys. Thank you for this. I really love it, Rob. Whatever you need, man, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. I love having you on. Same with Sam on last week. It was great fun. So, I'll make sure to ask you more often. I know you were busy for a while, so I didn't ask for a while.
Yeah,
but,
it's like 5 o'clock. It's like the hour here, right? It's kind of tough, but I will make it work every now and then, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll add you to the regular rotation, of which there is no rhyme or reason. I just go on a Monday. I go because on a Monday, Daryl or Joe go, "What are we talking about? And who's the guest?" I go, "Oh yeah, shit, it's coming up in 2 days." So then we think of something. It's usually them that come up with the topic, and then I'm like, "Who haven't I asked in a while?" And that's literally the system. So it's not like it's a regular rotation, but we'll have you back because that was a lot of fun. Daryl, what's going on your channel? Your Canadian Stereotypes tag's doing well. What else is cooking?
Yeah, the Stereotypes is doing well, and absolutely nothing. I did the MGK Boston thing last week in a soundtrack one. I think I mentioned that last week, but I actually haven't done anything for it for a little bit. Just busy back to semester 2, and life is just busy.
Fair enough. Joe has been making a lot of videos lately.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I did one today for our friend Mike. Push to a quadrillion. Is it quadrillion or quadrillion? Because I thought it was drillion, but then it's trillion. It doesn't.
Oh, really I did trillion. So who the hell?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so that
disqualify us.
Yeah, did the Canadian tag? Yeah, I mean, if there's some good close friends that have got some stuff going on, and that doesn't mean, Sam, that I haven't done the Americana tag for any other reason than I just haven't quite got to it yet. But the MGK Boss one was pretty easy question, so that helped a little bit. Store's good. Store's busy. Got a Saturday opening coming up. Probably got another 12 Things That Don't Belong Here coming up for that. And the game show. Jeopardy will be back next Wednesday. Jay, 5 o'clock's tough, but 7:30 in the evening is probably a little easier to get to, isn't it? Right?
It could be.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So hopefully we can get you on at some point. Returning champion will be Rob from Northern Revolutions. Daryl will be back to see if he can knock him off his throne. And joining us next week, our good friend from Young LP Lovers, Curtis, will be coming on as well. So Should be good. Got a fun episode planned, and that's next Wednesday after our show.
I got a Ken Jennings run going here. I'm 2 weeks in a row undefeated. So
Yeah, it stays close, and then you kind of run away a little bit sometimes. You get those double jeopardies or jeopardies. You get those
Right.
double jeopardies fall in the right spot.
well,
It's
hey,
all about
listen. I'd like to brag that so far I'm the only person ever to win the game show. So
So far,
I'm the only champion in the history of the world for Jeopardy. So
you can say that, and it's a true
I can.
statement. That's right. So if you want to watch old episodes, watch Rob and Daryl and others. They're on my page. They're on Rob's page as well. We simulcast it. It's so big, we have to show it on different channels for all the people.
so
watching.
huge. The YouTube can't handle the bandwidth on just one channel.
Exactly. That's
Right.
exactly. We have to split it up. So, and at some
Exactly.
point, we're going to get this young man on as well, all the way from Tokyo, Japan. I'll see if I can come up with a couple of categories, Japanese categories. That'd be tough, but
I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you had fun doing the tag, Brian, and you got to do your grandfather's Canadian roots proud on there.
Yep.
Even though, like Rob said, the LA Dodgers thing,
Brian, I'm afraid
I got a good laugh out of it.
Brian, as I said, I like you, and I was prepared to extend honorary Canadian citizenship, but I think you may have irreparably harmed our relationship with that Dodger stunt. It's going to take me a lot of time to get over that. I mean, it would have been easier if you just cheated on me, honestly. This is going to take a lot of therapy for me to get over.
Oh man, the bromance is over. The bromance
It
is
is.
over.
It is. Two things you don't do. You don't insult somebody's wife, and you don't insult their baseball team when we lost the World Series the way that we did.
the rematch this October is going to be awesome.
I hope so.
Yep.
What's going on my channel? Well, I'm glad you guys asked.
Well, we did. Maybe.
Not a lot.
What is going on your channel, Rob?
I did Daryl's stereotype tag, which was a lot of fun. And I have MGK's quadrillion, as I called it, contest. It's done. It is about 50% edited. It'll be up by the weekend for sure. And then Sam's Americana tag is next. The only reason I did MGK because he's got a deadline. The tag is kind of open-ended. So it's not that I'm procrastinating, Sam, except that I'm procrastinating. I have all the questions. I have all the answers written down. I just have to sit down and shoot it. So that's where we're at.
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. To everyone that tuned in tonight, thank you so much. That was a blast as always. Jay, always fun to have you on, man. And we'll do this again real soon. And
Thanks, guys.
For folks that are going to tune in later, thanks for spending a couple hours with us. Joe and Daryl and I will be back next week with somebody else talking about something else. I threw out the idea to Joe that we should do our favorite songs of all time because we haven't done that before. So
The songs we love the Wednesday before Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's the Wednesday. So no, we got to do Valentine's next week then.
Well, we could do the songs we love.
Let's do our favorite songs later on. We got to do something Valentine's-y. So
Okay, we'll come up with something.
we'll come up with something. So
Yep.
All right, guys and girls and dogs and hamsters that are watching. We'll see you next week, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.